Hi, I am Allie Camilletti, and you are listening to Snack Leadership. I will be talking about everything leadership, broken down into bite-sized pieces. You will hear what different leadership skills look like in organizations and how they can rise teams up or take them down. I help leaders build resilience and improve performance by bringing awareness to opportunity behaviors in my business. Spark your mindset. I provide leadership and sales coaching, as well as team building and guest speaking. My hope is for you to feel inspiration and to create a spark in your mindset. Hi everyone, today we are talking about clarity. Clarity is the state or quality of being clear or transparent. What comes to mind for me when I think about clarity is a quote from Brené Brown. Clear is kind. Absolutely. So I'm going to share with you this article by Forbes, and it's titled 3 Leadership Principles to Live By: Clarity, Empowerment, and Accountability, which it'll be interesting because we have this podcast on clarity, and then in a couple months, I'm covering Zen leadership. And the gentleman I interviewed, he went into like his 3 main concepts that really create that Zen leadership style for his model. And I kind of want to do an evaluation of like, are all these just the same but different words? Because there is a theme. And so the gentleman that was writing this article, he talks about the core elements that have always led to successful outcomes are 3. These principles that executives should live by and reinforce if they want to successfully lead their team. First one, clarity. Define who you are and what you do. So when executives provide clarity about its business, its mission, right, and its goals, they empower their teams with the strength of alignment. Employees often have high confidence that they're performing and delivering at a maximum capacity, but they can better understand why their work matters if they're offered full transparency upfront and it's repeatedly enforced on a day-to-day basis. Executives should be clear about why certain tasks are assigned and what the end goal is for each team member. This allows teams to be better organized with their schedules, prioritize action items, and manage their workload. Clarity also increases a team's ability to execute tasks, shift directions confidently, and exceed expectations. When clear expectations are defined up front, teams are more likely to stay on the same page no matter what challenges or hurdles arise. As I'm reading this and thinking about what they're talking about, it takes me back to the world of event planning. And I worked with a lot of nonprofits, and we would always do events, fundraising events. And one of the details that I felt was really important were job descriptions for all the volunteers. Because how many times have you volunteered? And as a volunteer, you want to be respectful of your time, their time, and you want to do a good job. Well, you can't really do a good job if you don't know what is expected of you. So I would have a job description for everybody. Greeters, they had job descriptions. I would train them. These are expectations when donors are coming in the door, how you greet them, if they have questions, what nonprofit are we representing tonight? Because sometimes I'd have classes, students that would volunteer, and I wanted them to understand the mission of the nonprofit. I always thought maybe sometimes people thought I was a little over the top, but I loved job descriptions because it was very clear what they were to wear, how they were to perform, the expectations of their shift, the duties that they were going to be performing. And I gotta say, I think that the events really ran smoothly because of those job descriptions. The expectations, they were right there. And then people knew how their actions affected everybody else. Like, why is it important that you're here at this time? And the length of, like, if you're a greeter and then you're also saying goodbye to people at the end of the night, it was those touches that I really thought were good when you were doing event planning and that made a difference. The next one is empowerment. So if you're clear, this also gives a level of empowerment. It elevates your team. So when a leader is open and inviting to new ideas and opinions from team members, employees often feel more empowered to do their jobs and perform better. Team members have excellent ideas, and taking the time to listen respectfully helps send the message that people are valued and respected. This is best achieved when their teams have clarity on what exactly is expected, and perhaps even more importantly, what is not. So when a company's team feels empowered, they are more likely to fully unite in their vision. Whether that vision is to achieve a sales goal, expand operations to a new region, or implement a new employee wellness initiative, shared goals bring teams together. The final vision can then be supported by empowered leaders at all levels making decisions. This creates an alignment vision and team and helps amplify transparency, especially when it comes to reacting to local signals that can vary by region or function. So I have this wonderful company that I work with, and they have something called empowerment questions for their team members, which I feel are just brilliant. The empowerment questions include, first, is it right for the customer, owner, or guest? Is it right for our company? Is it ethical? Is it something for which we are willing to be accountable? Is it consistent with the basic values and beliefs of the company? If the answer is yes to all 5, don't ask, just do it. What a great list of empowerment questions and motto. And they stand by it. They completely support people when they make decisions. I think it's brilliant. Number 3 from Forbes is accountability. Ensure that autonomy comes with responsibility. Individuals and teams gain confidence when every team member of that team is held accountable for delivering what they are expected to do. Assuming you've been clear upfront about what those tasks are, your team should have a complete understanding of their marching orders. It is then your role to ensure they are executed. That said, do not micromanage, right? If you're going to give people those empowerment questions, you don't micromanage them on every little thing because they're going to feel defeated. Trust that your team will get their project or goal accomplished by the assigned deadline, and don't check in constantly to evaluate their work when it's not complete. In doing so, you create a culture of distrust amongst your employees, which leads to disjointed teams and stunted growth. So with accountability, I'm kind of a fan of just checking in and asking, hey, did you have any questions about that project? Anything I can support you on? That's it. At that point, they're going to share with you, if they do, where they're at. You don't have to micromanage them of being like, hey, did you get that done? Where exactly are you at? Just ask questions. Really the gold to everything in leadership and all relationships. So in holding teams accountable, executives are ultimately creating camaraderie and promoting trust. Individuals must learn to rely on one another, whether it is meet deadlines, fulfill responsibilities, or feel safe approaching a teammate for assistance. Organizational trust is built by high levels of responsibility, particularly among leaders. So when they know leaders will accept responsibility for their own decisions and actions, team members will, in turn, have a high level of trust in their leaders. Your leaders, their role depends upon the strategies you get to choose. A leadership team that instills these 3 principles in their employees will help an organization continuously grow and excel in performance, particularly in times like these when teams are largely federated and remote. By connecting and aligning teams to a clear vision that promotes more effective localization with innovation, executives create a competitive differentiator for their business as a whole. When employees feel well-equipped and prepared to take on responsibilities, the performance of the entire organization is then magnified. And best of all, you'll get to watch your individual employees thrive and grow. Clarity is so key in organizations. And often I feel like people don't really know. And companies will put all this stuff out there, right? Make the values clear, but you got to keep it in front of them at all times. Often when I'm having conversations in coaching with leaders, I'll ask, did you bring it back to values? Did you ask them how it aligned with values? Like, go that direction so that it isn't becoming personal with the actual employee. It's becoming more of like, this is why we do what we do and what we pay attention to. It all comes back to really core values. So there was another article that you're going to find in the show notes. It's by wavelengthasana.com, Leading with Clarity. And I'm not going to share the whole thing, but what they do talk about is a few key points. And so when they talk about these key points, they're talking about the clarity of purpose, right? Start with the why. It goes back to Simon Sinek's. You've got to have the why for people to really understand the purpose, why they're doing whatever it is they're working on in the first place. Otherwise, they're just going to feel like they're not really bought in if they don't understand the why, because they're not going to see the importance. And then the other one is clarity of the plan, right? I go back to the job descriptions. This is the plan of the evening. This is the full-on schedule, timeline of the entire night. I had every little thing so that they were empowered with all the information of everything that was happening. I didn't need to be the holder of all the details. This way they could make good decisions, knowing, oh, should I go sneak out and have a snack? Oh, well, the auction is going to close in 2 minutes. I probably should wait until after. The clarity of the responsibility goes back to job descriptions. And then scaling clarity, right? The faster your organization grows in size and the faster the work grows in complexity, the more it may feel like you don't have time to sit down and give your team clarity. Yeah, I've watched this. And yet, that's when it becomes even more critical to have clarity. Clarity improves a team's ability to execute, its ability to change directions confidently, and its overall satisfaction because people have more confidence that they're doing the most important work they can be doing and understand why it matters in the grand scheme of things. So I leave with you a quote by Steve Maraboli. The best way to succeed is to have a specific intent, a clear vision, a plan of action, and the ability to maintain clarity. Those are the 4 pillars of success. It never fails. Thank you for tuning in to Snack Leadership. I hope you felt inspiration, motivation, and felt your mindset spark. Snack Leadership is recorded and produced by myself, Ali Camilletti, and music by Shireen Amini.